Have you ever heard of the learning styles? That people are more auditory, visual, or tactile? That some study better by hearing, by seeing, or by doing? For years I was convinced that writing was kind of my thing, and that I needed to write in order to remember any matter in the long term. In fact, I was told a wrong myth for all my life. The truth is, there are no learning styles at all. Hear me out. Hey, my name is Marius. I'm on a journey towards becoming the best version of myself, aka becoming not just someone. And without further ado, I'm going to explain to you that learning is the same regardless of how the content is presented to you. But how does that come? Our minds connect information with one another based on meaning. Isn't it weird that we can remember the most unnecessary detail in our lives, while we can't remember our studies after reading over them 100th time? Because senses don't play a major role in our school system anyways. We are presented with exercises that require conceptual answers. The answers that are based on meaning. In other words, rereading or rewriting doesn't help with retaining the information after all. How to remember everything instead is by creating connections to the topic. Find examples based on a personal experience that fit and add them to your studies. A study from 1973 underlines this advice with a scientific fact. In this study, the subjects were supposed to recall the position of chess pieces on a board, while the experts, who have way more experience than the average player, remembered the position of the pieces as expected very well. As soon as the pieces were put into random positions, the subjects lost their ability to recall the position of the chess pieces entirely. The reason for that is clear. Pawn, rook, bishop, knight, king, and queen were in an order that made sense. The experts saw meaning in them. They were connecting the pieces to chess moves they've studied for years. In other words, personal experience and meaning helped them to remember difficult positions easily. Now, what can we get out of this study that will improve our work experience? The best way how to learn and to teach strongly depends on the content itself. How could you remember the smell of a flower, the sound of a bird, or feeling of wind in your hair if you've never experienced it? The answer is, you can't. Here's a little insight into my life. I personally am studying physics, which is structured into theoretical physics and experimental physics. Experiments help us to visualize complex processes and therefore find a meaning that is necessary to learn a topic. We make connections in our brain with personal experience. And just like this, learning is possible itself. So try to combine as many senses as possible to fully grasp a topic and your field of your study. Look at experiments on YouTube about your field. Visualize the matter with pictures, or learn by explaining it to another person. There are even studies out there that state that by chewing gum while studying, and then later on chewing one with the same flavor during an exam, can help you build up that connection. Your brain draws lines between the taste and studies, and therefore you'll be able to recall them better. Playing football isn't just learned by watching a game either. You will need to hear your coach's feedback on the field, looking at formations, and most importantly, you need to actually play it to master the game. As you can see, this advice can come in handy in multiple ways. It's not just a good study tip, but can be found in all kinds of fields. Learning sports, playing board games, writing a story, and many more categories. So people have preferences. What is yours? Listening, reading, or doing? Now that you know how to study more effectively, watch this video that will teach how to remember everything.